This Thrive Loud episode is brought to you by Hinge Consulting. Success on Amazon hinges on well-executed strategies. Contact Hinge Consulting to learn about total Amazon channel management and to see if your business has what it takes to grow over 300% over the next 12 months. That's Hinge Consulting at hingeconsulting.co.
We interrupt this broadcast to bring you an important announcement. Thrive Loud is officially the best podcast ever. And Lou Diamond is still bald. That is all.
Now I'm getting really excited. Okay, this is the part where we're going to get loud.
Holy crap, here we go.
I like telling stories.
I learn best through experiences.
Everything I do is because of everything I did.
Talk about having maximum impact while having a ton of fun.
When you can net through that, what you do leave behind for your listener will have more impact.
Wow, bring it on.
It's time to take an inside look at those that are taking their lives, their businesses, and their passions to the next level. Get ready to thrive loud with Lou Diamond.
Welcome, everyone, to another episode of Thrive Loud with Lou Diamond, connecting you to the most inspiring and amazing people that are thriving each and every day. I'm your host, Lou Diamond. Today on Thrive Loud, we have the founder of Unified People and has been transforming international organizations and creating winning cultures that bring world-class results. That's kind of a guy I like, by the way, right out of the game. He is freedom and energy creator, an international best-selling author, a keynote speaker, and we're glad to have him on the show today. Thrive Loud listeners coming to you from Denmark, Ulrik Nerloe. Ulrik, how are you today?
I'm awesome. Thank you so much. I'm so thrilled to be on your show. Thank you so much, Lou.
So to the Thrive Loud listeners, by the way, we love the fact that we're doing this across the Atlantic and we've expanded our range of guests. We've had other guests in the past that have come from, seem to be tapping into Scandinavia. We had Norway recently, and now we're getting a little more south as we're just outside of Copenhagen talking to Ulrik. And Ulrik and I have a lot of things in common. We have similar philosophies on how we think about things, and he's got a great book and a good story that I think the Thrive Loud community is really going to like. So Ulrik, if you could, I'm going to pass the baton to you so you can get started. Can you give a little bit of your journey on what you've been all about and how it's led you to this point? And I think that'll get our conversation started. Sound like a plan?
Totally. Well, I mean, all since I started my career a lot of years ago, I was always thinking whatever I was I started up in the fashion industry, and after working there in 6 years, I went into the IT industry. And basically from the first moment I started my career, I was wondering why leaders were acting as they were. Because every time I met a person who was a leader, who was authentic, really honest, had the gut to show vulnerability, I got very inspired by people. Unfortunately, it was very, very seldom I met leaders like that. And after being an employee for more than 15 years, I decided 7 years ago to leave that role and really live out my dream of building up my own company and actually help companies to transform their way of working, the philosophy behind the leader role, and as well the way we engage ourselves in our organizations. And in short term, I see a lot of companies, and I've been a part of them as well, where the culture inside of the company is what I call a factory culture. And a factory culture is for me just where people are coming every day to work as empty shells. So emotions, heart, soul, the sense of urgency is basically something that is being left out. And the only thing and the only reason for coming to work is basically to earn your money to pay your bills. And this is what I'm over thrilled about helping other companies to realize and really to show how easy a path it is to transform organizations into the understanding of how you change this. It's difficult, but if you know how to do it, it's like golf. It's not difficult if you know how to play.
By the way, I've been playing golf for a long time, and I'll let you know, I know how to play, and it only continues to get more and more difficult. But But let me tap into this. So what is the direction that you help get people to change what is really their mindset? I'm imagining here. What is the way that you're making them from this empty shell towards, I guess, being the human beings that they are? Talk to us about that.
A lot of people are very unconscious in the way that we're living, and it's a physical phenomenon, because the brain is basically, it loves to be lazy. And that means that if it can just continue doing the same things over and over, it will do that. This is what we call habits in our daily life. And a lot of people are running all through their lives without actually stopping up, asking themselves fundamental questions until it really, really hurts. This is the moment where we in life starts to ask ourselves fundamental questions. Whereas I believe if we actually stop up and slow down, we're able to speed up much better. And if we do so in a period of time in life where actually we are performing good, where our things are good in life, we can get much more knowledge out of it. So yes, it's a mindset. It's a totally different way of living your life, because it's asking yourself fundamental questions, which is very simple, but for most people hard to answer. And it's like, what makes you really happy? What gives you energy? What brings meaning into your life? And most important, who are you? And when you, who are you is one of my favorite questions. And when I ask people this question, most people go through their job resume, but that's not an answer. It's like, what are you? It's not who are you? And when you want to be authentic, you need to know these answers. And actually, there's nobody who have ever told anyone that, hey, you need to reflect on this, until it hurts for most people. And even though people go through a period in time, or because of sickness, or because they lose their job, or it could be a lot of reasons, people still actually go back to the way they were living before, when the process has been done of reflecting. So when you teach people this, when you make people much more aware, it's like waking them up and thinking, hey, why didn't anyone tell us this before?
And I like this. And I'm going to jump right to this onto you. So who is Ulrik Nerloe? Who are you? And when you give your understanding of who you are, so our listeners can understand this idea of how you communicate this.
I'm a very empathetic person. I love making a difference. I realized after reflecting on 3 years on what is it that really makes me happy, that is to be able to enlighten people with some of my knowledge based on my own journey that can change other people's lives to something better. And of course, my family makes me happy. And this is the answer that everybody gives. When you ask them, what makes you happy? Everybody says, my family. I had one person who said, can I say my goldfish? Because that was her foundation at home. And that is, of course, a fact, but there's so much more into it. And I'm a reflective person. I'm a curious person. I'm a loving person. And I'm a forgiving person as well. I like to forgive people because I'm convinced that there's a positive intention behind every act. And I really, really like to see other people shine, and knowing that I had a part of that in the background and not actually standing in the front all the time.
Yeah, you fall into the category of a master connector, which is why we. This is a good. We're connecting the bridge, if you would, across the Atlantic. You know, when I tell people, you know, I work with the most amazing people to make them more amazing through the power of connecting, and that becomes the who I am and what I'm about. And this is really interesting because what I do like what you're doing is you're taking that way of work and you're helping them bring who they really are as an individual to try to make the workplace better, which I guess is a little bit about what the Life Bridge book is about. And as you have it subtitled, you know, your journey from an unconscious to a conscious life. Talk about some of the things that you've covered in this, because I imagine your whole philosophy is embedded and, you know, just booms out of this.
Yeah. And I love the fact that you talk about a bridge between the continents, because it's actually exactly what the book is about. But my continent is different, because what I realized through my 1,000 of hours of doing mentoring and coaching with people is that the majority of all people, they are stuck in the past and they're waiting for the future, but they're missing out on the present moment. So, I mean, an example could be that when it's going to be weekend, tomorrow is Saturday, And that means that we can have fun. But what happened on Tuesday? Can we have fun on Tuesday? Or when I get my bonus, my life is going to be better. Or when I get a boyfriend or girlfriend, my life is going to be better. I mean, a lot of people are constantly waiting for something. But what they're waiting for is also based on the past. And I mean, we're stuck in the past. This can't happen because it didn't happen in the past. And on this frustration of waiting for the future and being stuck in the past makes it actually very difficult for people to be in the present moment. And I just love the present moment because there's so many beautiful things that we take for granted. And the book is very much about making people aware that we take a lot of things for granted. And at the same time, it's a authentic story about my own journey, about what I have realized through the years, where I in my career in the IT industry thought I was really found myself, really found what I should do for the rest of my life. For suddenly one day waking up, finding out that I was scared, that I hated my job, that I was only doing it for the money, and I had absolutely no soul or heart or emotions, positive emotions, into my work. And as well realizing that I was living most of my life based on what I thought my surroundings expected from me, instead of actually understanding what do I expect for myself and what can I offer the surroundings, which I would say most people do. We have a tendency to live our lives based on expectations that is just assumed expectations. We don't know really, is this actually what is expected from me or isn't it? And I want to help people to really become better versions of themselves, find true happiness, find the reasons why they're here. Why do we exist? Who am I? And what my goal was for the book was I wanted the reader, no matter where the person would be in life, to actually to be helped. No matter if you're in your biggest life crisis, or if you're in the top of your career. And for the feedback I've received until now, it seems like I've actually succeeded with that. So that I'm very proud of.
And I love the message, and I think it really does have power. I was going to ask this question because when you're helping companies achieve that winning culture, and I've been doing similar work on this side of the pond. You've been seeing it, all over the place. I want to ask the question, is there one thing you're seeing more than another? And I'm asking that question with the caveat that there are a lot of Thrive Loud listeners in this community that run businesses, run companies, and they are all dealing with exactly what you're talking about, trying to connect better to their people. So they probably have a lot of overlapping issues. What's one thing that you're seeing more than not?
I would say that, there's 2 points that is the most important to implement in your organizations. First, curiosity. Second, presence. Because when we become curious on people and become present with people, organizations change. Because there's studies that's been done where it's been proven that 70% of communication between people is emotional communication. And I don't know about you, Lou, but I've tried being a lot of meetings in my past where the CEO, he got up in front of everyone, he shared his vision, and you could just feel that this guy or girl, she or he didn't believe actually in what the person was saying, but the words that was coming out sounded very good. And this lack of balance between what is coming out your mouth and what is it that you actually feel is a big challenge, because it creates disturbance for emotional part and as well as energy part. And how do you do that? Well, actually, if we have a challenge, honesty is one of the greatest tools in that you can work with in organizations, because people would rather get the truth than not getting the truth. And when people get into this, or when an organization gets into this, it's much easier to work with people. And at the same time, it also reveals another very important point: right people in right positions. I don't think there's anyone coming to work every day thinking, "Hey, I'm going to destroy or disrupt or be a challenge every day at work." But nevertheless, we see that in a lot of organizations that there is people who are stuck in the organization and actually doing more harm than good. And these people need to be either developed or they need to be helped on. And being honest by saying and curious, that's actually something that you can do a lot of great results with. And this is what I've been proven over and over here in Europe.
So, Ulrik, I want to ask this question because this is one that I've dealt with many people who are coaches who have the ability to do one-on-one, but also obviously work in groups. Which do you prefer? The being able to communicate to a group session that you're dealing with to help a whole team to understand a philosophy, or the real impactful one-on-one coaching that you get to do?
Oh, that's a tough question. I actually, I really like to balance both exercises. I really love to be an inspiration for a lot of people, like doing what we're doing right now by being on the stage of hundreds or thousands of people, and really making points that makes people stop up and reflect. Because at the end of the day, that's the point. But at the same time, I love seeing a CEO goes from autumn to spring, and to really see the impactful results that very, very simple tools can have, not only for the CEO, but also for the full organization around him. So I would say, as one of the things that makes me most happy is to see as many people become just a little bit more wise, that results in better life. I would probably, if I have to choose, I would probably say doing keynote speaks and workshops that develop more people at the same time is probably what I would choose. But I also love doing my mentorings.
Yeah, I think it's very funny because there is a different energy in the sense of the energy creator and a tremendous group power that comes together when you have everybody in a large group or in a workshop, and it really helps to build that up, and people feel that, just as you say, you're creating the energy. And yet there's also sometimes that there's that one-on-one attention that has a way of really being the most effective. It's no different than if you were using golf or tennis. If you were taking a lesson, there's effectiveness in everybody learning it, but that one-on-one experience, you can really get results. So I totally get you. I get the balance there. And here's a question that I ask all of the Thrive Loud guests. Ulrik, when you have trouble thriving, you personally, who or what do you turn to get yourself back on the thriving track?
I read an article in the New York Times many years ago about the perfect mentor, and basically it said that the perfect mentor would add 70 to 80% of value and understanding and new learnings to the mentee, but the rest of the percentage would go back to the mentor. And I really, really enjoy working with people and getting insights for them that actually can help me as well to develop. And having said that, I also believe that being a mentor, you need to have a mentor as well to develop yourself, to make yourself sharper. So I have several mentors around Europe that I tap into and do sessions with. And then one very, very effective tool that I've been working intensively with for the last 10 years is meditation. I meditate a lot, and just the ability to let go of everything and clear your mind, and then go into a deep meditation, coming out again. That actually has helped me a lot of times to see more clearly and really thrive myself to go back into the battle, if I could put it that way.
Yeah. But by the way, more and more and more, I get more and more guests that answer with that as one of their answers. And I look forward to there's going to be around the clock in every single organization, there's going to be a set meditation time or something of that nature, which I think is where it's heading because we're becoming more productive and more focused. My favorite example, one guest on the show, Ulrik, I'll just say, he described meditation as like pulling back the arrow, and what it's in that time of emptying your mind. When he came out of it, it was like launching that arrow focused, and I love that analogy. I'm still personally trying to get there. I have trouble getting past 10 minutes, but how long do you? What do you do?
It is difficult. I mean, it needs a lot of training to do it, but you can actually, I do a guided meditation. I'm a meditation mentor. So I teach people how to do this. And I mean, when you do it that way, you can actually much faster learn people how to meditate. And I can actually do a guided meditation where people lose totally sense of time for up to an hour or 40 minutes. And when you ask them afterwards, how long do you think you've been meditating? People think, well, 10 minutes max. And you tell them that they've been meditating for 40 minutes. And the interesting thing is that when I have one of my clients coming in the door for mentoring and I can hear that they're very stressed and not very focused, I do a meditation with them. And I can ask them questions before the meditation and ask them the same questions after the meditation. And before the meditation, they have no answers. But after the meditation, they have clear answers. And the interesting thing is that they cannot remember I asked them the same question before the meditation.
I like it. So, Ulrik, the at this particular point, you've got the book, you've got your speaking, you've got your consulting and your coaching. What are you looking forward to? What short-term horizon things that you have in front of you, some goals that you've maybe set for yourself or things that you're looking forward to?
We as a family have been talking a lot for the last 4 or 5 years that we want to move abroad. And I was I just been working in Paris for the last 2 years. And last year around this time, I was sitting in Paris with my children and wife. And I asked them, so where do you want to live? And after a few minutes, my son said, I want to live in California. And my daughter just looked at me and said, I want to live in California too. And my wife said, hey, we love California. So I'm at the moment really having an intensive focus on building up Unified People and the services that we do, and me as a keynote speaker with the focus of California, because we love the environment, we love people there, and we love the way that people from California they think, the philosophy. I mean, they think big, and in Denmark you're not allowed to think big. I mean, it's, the people don't like that. Actually, it's like a law. You don't think big, and if you do, don't say it loud. And I love to think big. I teach companies how to dream big. I mean, if you can dream it, you can do it, as Disney said. And this is what makes a huge difference, because I believe the strategy is dead, because strategy is just a thought, but a dream is emotions. And we need to drive companies forward, of course, with a logical mind, but also by stimulating people's emotions. They need to relate to something of a bigger meaning. And dreams is definitely something that is founded in bigger meaning. So short term is definitely to found ourselves in the US with a foundation in California.
I like it, and make sure to make a pit stop in New York to say hi before you
definitely
jump.
We've just been in New York. We love New York for sure.
Before I jump to some of this has all been fun and very entertaining and great to hear from you and get an understanding of what you're about. And I think the whole Thrive Loud network knows why you're on the show right now. We're going to talk about your look right now because I've got images of you, and those that are on this episode will be able to see this image on the podcast art for this particular episode. Yep. You are one well put together man, my friend. Thank
you so much.
First of all, you have hair, which is always a plus for someone like me who's still lacking in that area. But big glasses, got the kerchief, got the suit, got the jacket. You've got that confidence in just the way you look. And I look forward to hearing and seeing you speak more, because I get a feeling of how that energizes. So hopefully people can just connect with that smile alone. So keep the style up, by the way.
Thank you so much.
Share with the Thrive Loud community all the places that people can learn more about Unified People, about you and your book and everything. So all the plugs on where people can find you.
Yeah. I mean, of course, there's always unifiedpeople.com, which is available, of course. And my book is on Amazon, which is, both for ebook and for paperback. And as well, the lifebridgebook.com consists of my interviews. I did it in LA in February, and as well, more information about the book. And then, of course, go to LinkedIn, Ulrik Nerloe, Twitter, Ulrik Nerloe again, and Facebook. You can also find me there for connecting there.
This is great stuff. So now we got to hit you with the two hard questions here. I'm going to hit you. First, we'll go with the signature one. Give us your all-time favorite movie.
American Beauty.
And why?
I mean, it's probably back to the thing about that we live our lives based on other people's expectations, and I love. I'm so sad about the things about Kevin Spacey because he's absolutely one of my favorite actors, and I love House of Cards as well, and this peculiar way of running of politics, or probably a good picture of it. But American Beauty is just, breaking barriers and doing things that I think, well, of course, it's a little bit black and white, and the things he's doing is quite preserved. But anyway, he's doing things and living out his dreams, and he doesn't care about what other people think. And I think, this is really true freedom and really letting go of limitations. No, definitely American Beauty.
Yeah, and all these things that happen to the personal lives of actors and everything that's happened in certain moments. It is it's bummed because we do look at them as so talented, and it's hard to separate the two when we have that. That's how connected we get to people. That's why I always ask the movie question, because we all connect to movies and whatnot. The last question I was going to ask you is, as now an author and a speaker, do you have a favorite speaker that you like to have seen, or someone that you look up to that inspires you?
Simon Sinek. I must just admit. Simon is amazing to me. He just puts things out so simple and makes such a good sense. And he's humble and he's powerful. I would say he's a little bit nerdy, isn't he? But again, in his cool way. And I could spend hours with him, sitting with him, talking with him. I think he does a fantastic job. He's a great inspiration for me. I think tons of companies could learn a lot from him. And while it resonates a lot with what we believe in as well, Lou. Why are we here? It's about meaning. It's very simple, and it's incredible that the potential there is of companies who are still not understood what it's about.
Very true. That being said, Ulrik Nerloe, this was awesome. And thank you so much for coming on Thrive Loud. I've had fun. And I got to tell you, I think you've connected to our audience, but you've connected to me, because I totally get what you're about and who you are. And thank you for sharing that with the whole listeners, because this was great.
I'm so happy to be on the show. And thank you so much for having me. Very, very cool experience. Thank you so much.
Well, totally my pleasure. And to all the Thrive Loud listeners out there, keep thriving onward and upward. And remember, be brief, be bright, be gone.
You've been listening to Thrive Loud with your host, Lou Diamond. Make sure to subscribe on iTunes, Overcast, or wherever you get your podcasts. And follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at Thrive Loud. Or find us on the web at thriveloud.com.